It's too hot for me to get in there with a shovel. I got this side. And there's no water on the house.
In the fall of 2020, a ferocious fire, unlike any other in the past 100 years, burned from the counties of San Mateo and the outskirts of the small town of Boulder Creek, California. Known as the CZU complex fires, this fire burned 1,490 structures, 85,509 acres, and displacing cities of people in its fiery path. Boulder Creek is a small town in the Santa Cruz Mountains, surrounded by redwoods and a community bound to protect each other. Volunteer men and women firefighters defend this small town and its people. This is a story of two brave individuals, a father and son, fighting to keep their communities safe. Meet Kenny Rogers. He stayed to protect his land and the lands of others around him, watering properties, reporting and spotting fires, and creating fire lines.
Couldn't see a whole lot, couldn't breathe very well, walking around with a wet, damp mask kind of thing, bandana over so I can filter some of the smog out. And up on the roof, it's got everything wet, so every 3 hours I would make sure my whole property was saturated. And it helped on the embers that were flying. And it was going from 1 mile to 2 miles away. When the wind picks up, trees go on, and the canopy of the trees lit, and it went from treetop to treetop to treetop. The sky changed from clear skies to smoke-filled, and about half the sky was filled with smoke with the wind blowing in a certain direction. And throughout the next day or two, the whole sky, you couldn't see blue. You couldn't, daytime, nighttime, it was all just gray. Embers were falling. I was putting them out with my feet as the wind was kicking up. It was getting pretty hairy. A couple nights, I didn't know if we were going to have a house to come back to, so I never left. I slept in my truck in the driveway on a couple nights because I couldn't go in the house. If the house caught on fire, I'd be dead.
So there was a fireman that lost his house.
His name is Vince. He's not really a fireman in his real day-to-day job, but he's part of the Boulder Creek Fire Department, the volunteer fire department. And his house was going up while he was busy fighting a fire on another house. And they said, "Hey, do you want to go fight your own house?" And he said, "No." He said, "It's too late for my house, but maybe I could save this one." And they ended up saving that one. And his house went up. And there was a couple other houses that went up. All his neighbors, all a fallen leaf, the whole neighborhood just decimated. And Vince is a nice guy. He's pretty humble, and there's a lot of people that came together in this town that they did a GoFundMe. Some of the women firefighters' wives, $130,000 or something like that was given out. It was a well-deserved award, I guess, for being as humble as he is. That's Vince.
Just down the road from Kenny is his son, Kurtis Rogers, a member of the Boulder Creek, California volunteer fire crew. After serving the United States military, he now serves a small town and its people.
Boulder Creek Volunteer Fire Department serves the Boulder Creek Fire District, and we're completely volunteer. How it works is we'll get a call dispatched out of Santa Cruz County, and whoever's available for the call will come down to the station. A lot of firefighters on this department usually work local, and so as they usually have employers that will allow them to leave work during a call and come on the call and then return back to work after the call. And but for the most part, we all come here to be part of this department, serve this community, because it's such a tight knit little town, and majority of this department, we all grew up here, and we get a lot of pleasure of serving this community, and then also we're one big family. It definitely brought back a lot of familiar feelings of when I deployed in the military, of seeing firefighters calling their loved ones and telling them that they love them and they might not have another chance to see them again. As tears run down this, and seeing fellow firefighters like hugging each other goodbye, and then heading out to the fire line. And so that was something that was familiar to me, of like, okay, we got the dangerous job done. And so that I had that familiar feeling of when I deployed and I was overseas, and then there was some unfamiliar feelings of my hometown's on fire, and my home might end up burning down, and we might lose the town. And that was a real thought that we might lose the town at certain points early on in the fire.
Wanting to find out more about fire lines and fire breaks, I asked Kurtis to show us how to make one.
First tool I went with was a Pulaski. That's usually used to chop up thicker brush. So we'll have, let's say you have a crew of 20 guys on a line. First 5 to 10 will have Pulaskis cutting up the thicker brush, and then the guys following and behind them on the line will have the McLeods, which is kind of like that flat edge and rake side, and then that is used to clear smaller leaves and stuff like that out of the way to completely separate the fuels from each other and creating that line, which will cut off the fire line. We're getting a call right now. I don't know if you want to film them. Film them.
During our interview, a call came in. Just like a flash, the team prepped and were ready to go fight another fire. These brave men and women will continue to serve their community with honor and bravery. To find out more about the Boulder Creek Fire Protection District, visit bcfd.com.